Ladies and gentlemen, we have a national bulletin here. We have some exciting news for you today. Um, this is the Alpough Show, the Human Spirit Experiment, where we allow you to have a great experience. For all those who are coming in here now, I know this is kind of a spontaneous live thing. I haven't put any promo on it, but I'm here to give you a great announcement that we're going to have here. And that is, we're going to have this gentleman by the name of Mizter Bonezz. This man is somebody special. I've been wanting and trying to get him on my show for a long time, and as an inspiration to all of us. But this man has had an interesting life to say the least. And so, without further ado, Mizter Bonezz.
What up, everybody?
What up, Mizter Bonezz? It's a great pleasure to have you on my show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you.
We kept missing each other's calls.
Yes, thanks for Amanda, darling, for getting us together here. I really appreciate it. Mr. Bonezz, I just can't say enough. When I first met you on Twitch, yes, Amanda, darling.
Yeah, I would pay for her. Yeah.
Yes, she what's the word? Rated you. Okay.
Yeah.
Because now we're on Twitch, we're on Twitter right now, we're on Facebook, we're on TikTok. Where else are we? YouTube. Yeah, YouTube.
Yeah.
So we're broadcasting on six platforms right now, which is my record. But when I saw you, first of all, Mizter Bonezz. All right. So we're like, she says, we're going to go raid Mizter Bonezz. All right. And so I'm like, well, that's an interesting name, and then all of a sudden here you pop on the screen.
Yeah.
And I see you're in a bed.
Yeah.
With that helps you. You got a trach, right?
Yeah, the trach.
Okay, so you have a trach. So you need this trach to breathe.
Yes.
Yes. Now, you're on it 24 hours?
Yeah, 24/7.
When did this kind of first start? Give me a little background on how this.
So, I was born with a genetic bone condition called osteogenesis imperfecta, which, if you're familiar with the Night M. Shyamalan trilogy, Unbreakable, Glass, and all those movies with Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson. Samuel L. Jackson has a bone condition in the movie. So, but there's different severity types. I have type 3, which is one of the most severe types. There's a more severe type where babies either are born with fractures or they are born to the point where they can't survive. So, in my situation, I was born normally, and it wasn't until 9 months old that I broke my first bone when I was learning how to walk on a baby walker. So,
which bone was that?
My femur, my leg. So I was learning how to walk on a baby walker, and my mom was grabbing onto me, and all of a sudden she heard something crack, and as soon as she heard that crack, I started crying uncontrollably, and she didn't know what was wrong because, I had never suffered anything before. I was barely 9 months old, and it was my first time trying to walk on a baby walker, and back then my parents didn't have a vehicle, and our only form of transportation would be public transportation, so we had to take the bus, the public transit.
Where were you born?
I was born in Silmar.
Okay, that's in Los Angeles. In case people don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Valley.
So we bused it from Canoga Park to CHLA, which is Children's Hospital Los Angeles. In car, it's probably like a 30-40 minute drive from where I live. But on a bus, there's all these stops, so it's not as quickly. And I cried the whole way there. And when we got there, the triage nurse or the intake nurse saw that I was in pain, so they started examining me, and they realized that my leg was broken. And the first thing they did was accuse my dad of child abuse. So they called the authorities, they called social workers on my dad. They actually handcuffed my dad, and they were taking him into custody. And they pretty much separated me from my parents. I was only 9 months old. I was not even a year old yet. So I didn't know what was going on. And it wasn't until the x ray technician broke my arm in the process of performing x rays on my broken leg when they realized something was wrong. They let my dad go. They, they, they released him or whatever. They didn't press any charges because they realized something was up, like something was wrong, like it was not normal. So they decided to do a whole genetic test, CT scans, MRIs, and they finally came down with the conclusion that I was born with osteogenesis imperfecta. And due to that bone condition, I've I've broken my bones in more than 300 occasions since I was 9 months old. So I'm 29 years old now. I'm turning 30 in August, and I've I've had to undergo 18 surgeries. And due to my small stature and having a stunted growth, um, my chest, my rib cage, and my chest and my lungs did not fully develop. So my lungs are the size of a little kid's lungs. So they don't fully extend to their full potential. So I started having breathing problems in 1999 when I first started using oxygen. So I was like 7 years old. And then it wasn't until high school freshman year when I started deteriorating and I had to depend on a BiPAP, or like some people call it the sleep apnea machines. So I started, if I first started at using it at night only, just to sleep. And then it got to the point where I had to use it during the day. So it got to the point where I basically had to stop going to school because I couldn't stay in school because, I needed to be hooked up to a machine. And back then, there wasn't batteries, battery packs. So pretty much I was stuck at home. And yeah, so what I did is I homeschooled during high school. I finished my high school at home. I had a teacher come to my house 3 days a week for an hour and 40 minutes each day. And to be honest, I felt like I learned a lot more being at home because I had the one-on-one attention with the teacher.
Right.
And this teacher was actually he was in a band. He used to play, I don't know if the drums or what. And this teacher was so into music that he would incorporate music into every lesson. So that's where I started getting my love for music. And then I became so isolated due to the fact of being homeschooled and having to rely on this breathing machine. I became very depressed, very lonely. My anxiety levels were off the charts. And it wasn't until I turned 16 when I just started to start messing around with music and DJ software. And I pretty much just taught myself how to DJ. I started doing small gigs here and there, like baptisms, baby showers, birthdays, weddings. And then I was going to college. I graduated high school with a 3.9 GPA, thanks to homeschooling. And then finally, I received a battery pack for my breathing machine so I could go out places. And I decided to give college a go. I was majoring in accounting, but my mental health got in the way of my studies, so I had to. I pretty much dropped out of college, and I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna pursue my dreams of music and see where it takes me. And it wasn't until 2015 when I came down with really weird pneumonia, and I was taken to the ER because my oxygen levels were about 88, 89 when they're supposed to be 96 or higher, the pulse ox. So they decided to admit me because my oxygen levels were so low, right? And and the weird thing is that the first night in the hospital, I had these really bad anxiety attacks. Like they were really bad to the point where I felt like I couldn't breathe. And so that first night was horrible, and then the second night was when my whole life changed. When I was sleeping, or I don't know what I was doing. I don't really remember because I have it's so traumatic that I don't like going back to it to that event. But I I went into hypoxic respiratory failure, and pretty much what hypoxic means is that my body was not exhaling or getting rid of the carbon dioxide levels in my lungs and my blood. So my carbon dioxide levels in my body reached 100%. So basically, there was no oxygen in my bloodstream. So I collapsed. I started coding. I went into code blue, and I was my parents were rushed out of the ICU room. Doctors and nurses running in with crash carts, and they tried to bring me back to life. And they finally intubated me. But what caused my PTSD to develop was the fact that when they were intubating me and trying to get me back to life, they didn't administer enough anesthetics. So physically, I was out cold, but mentally, I was aware of everything going on around me. So I could see the doctors fighting and like fighting to be able to bring me back to life to get some air to my lungs. I remember all that, and like I'm not gonna lie to you, I tried moving my fingers, I tried moving my toes, I tried blinking, and nothing would work. And I just whenever I have a doctor appointment or a medical procedure coming up, I get vivid flashbacks to that night when I was dying in the hospital. And my mom said that when I was starting to code, that I kept repeating to her that I loved her and that this was it, that I was dying, and that I wanted her to take care of herself, and that I would always love her no matter where I was. And that really scarred me for the rest of my life. And so what they did is they intubated me, and they came down with the conclusion that it was a pneumonia that was causing the high carbon dioxide levels. So they intubated me on a Wednesday night, and it they did X-rays and venous blood gas blood tests, and every day while I was intubated to see if I was getting any better. And by Sunday, they decided to take me off of the ventilator and put me back on my CPAP machine, my CPAP machine, which I was using um, 24/7. So they put me back on. They said my pneumonia had gotten better, that my carbon dioxide levels were going down, were getting lower. So they decided to take me off and extubate me and put me back on the other breathing machine, just to go into code blue like 4 hours later after being extubated, and I started crashing again.
Wow.
My
Did you
cousin,
feel, Mr. Bones, did you, when you had this experience, did you feel like you were out of body?
yeah, the
And that's
first
why
time
you,
when they didn't administer the enough anesthetics, I felt like I was watching myself being worked on.
wow.
Yeah. So that and after that, they came down with the conclusion that it was because my left lung is no longer functional because of the fact that my lungs are so under pressure in my rib cage and they didn't fully develop. So they told me that the only way I'd be able to live a life outside of the hospital is if I got this tracheostomy done. And
What year was that, Mr. Bones?
2015,
Okay, so that's about 5 years now,
eight
right?
years ago, 8 years ago,
15. Oh,
2015, 7 years,
right.
7. Yeah.
You're better at math than me. Look at
I'm
that.
telling you, I was majoring in accounting. I was gifted in math in elementary, but it just went all down the drain because of my mental health. And so they told me that I would never be able to speak ever again because of the tracheostomy. Because what they do is they add a cuff, like a balloon, that shuts off your upper respiratory tract. So basically, you only get air in and out of your lungs through the tracheostomy. Okay, and so what they did is they closed off my upper respiratory system, my nasal and my oral, and so the thing is, for your vocal cords to work, you need air to be passing between the vocal cords and to make them vibrate, right? So the doctors told me that I would never regain my ability to speak, that I would always have I would have to find a way to communicate with others, and that really hit me. I felt like I just felt like my whole life had changed. That my life was over. I felt like giving up, and to be honest, after that tracheostomy surgery, before the surgery, they even told me that there was a possibility of me being paralyzed. From the surgery, because I have such a short neck and I'm so fragile. They said that handling my neck during the process could have ended in a fracture, ending up in paralysis.
Right.
So to be honest, we were very scared because my own orthopedic has broken my bones during a surgery. Like I remember one time when I was little, I went in for a leg surgery, and I was obviously gonna come out with a cast on my leg. But when my parents went to see me in the recovery room at post op, I had a cast on my arm as well. So it turned out that for that surgery, the doctor accidentally broke my arm in the process. So I've always been, my parents never leave me alone in the hospital. Um, Thankfully, my parents, after the tracheostomy, they had to leave their old jobs. They had to stop working and they had to start taking care of me 24/7. Thankfully, the state of California pays them 24 hours of care. So, and they gave me an option of having a nurse for 4 hours a day. And I told them, to be honest, if you guys get a nurse, you guys are gonna be paying them to do absolutely nothing, because I'm so delicate and fragile that if the nurse is gonna come and take my blood pressure or try and change my diapers or whatever, they're gonna end up hurting me. So my parents, they we pretty much told them that the nurse was just gonna watch my parents do everything, and I was like, "Are you guys really want to pay a nurse to just watch? Like, is there any way we could just add those hours over to my parents?" And they finally talked it out. They talked with my medical insurance and all that, and then finally decided to give my parents the full 24-hour coverage of to get paid. So, um, I what really caused me to go into deep depression, and I even seek the right, the Freedom to Live Act, or whatever it's called out here in California, where if you have like a certain amount of time to live, you could ask for a medically assisted suicide. So I was seeking that. It got to the point where I begged my doctors to uh, either sign a DNR prior to any procedure, or just put an end to everything. And what really affected me was the fact during the holiday season of 2015, because I'm a Latino, I'm Latino. My parents are Central American. It's all about spending time at Christmas Eve dinner, opening presents early with the kids and all that. So I felt left out. I felt like I couldn't communicate with any of my little siblings. I couldn't communicate with my family at the dinner table. I couldn't even eat Christmas dinner, because I'm fed through a feeding tube. But it got to the point where I pretty much just wanted to give up on life, because not gonna lie to you, that Christmas Eve 2015, I spent the whole night just crying in my room. And when I went into respiratory failure, I pretty much had to accept the fact that my DJing career was over. I laid low for a whole year. The whole year that I had that surgery, the whole year I just laid low. I didn't do any DJing stuff. I didn't go out because I felt like a monster. I felt like just this creature that has all these tubes coming out of him. And it wasn't until after Christmas Eve that I started using medical marijuana. So I started medicating through tinctures, the little drops that you add to like your drinks or whatever,
Right,
the little
right.
droppers.
Like
So
tincture.
what? Yeah. So my mom,
Yeah.
what she does is she makes me either coffee or hot chocolate, and she adds a few drops of the tincture, and then she gives it to me through my feeding tube. So it goes directly into my stomach. So it pretty much takes effect right away. So I started doing that, and 6 months into THC therapy, bro, I'm not gonna lie to you, I regained my ability to speak.
Wow.
And my doctors told me that they don't know what caused my vocal cords to develop sound once again. And I remember I was playing with my little sister. I don't even know what I was doing, and then I was trying so hard to vocalize, and finally a word came out of my mouth. So I was like, "Oh shit!" Like
Wow.
this is
What did
like,
you say? Yo, man, am I stoned, man? I think I'm hearing my voice, man.
and then I decided to make an appointment with my doctors, because they had told me that if I wanted to regain my ability to speak or eat food orally, that I would have to be hospitalized for like a month and undergo some type of studies or whatever. And I was like, nah, I did that shit by myself. I did that shit at home, just got high as a motherfucker, and I started talking again. So they did a swallow test. So they did a whole swallow test at the house, at the clinic, outpatient swallow test, which they try to see if any of your food that you're eating goes down to your lungs or not, if you
Right,
aspirate or not.
right.
So thank goodness I passed my swallow test. They told me you're free to eat food orally, and they didn't tell me twice, bro.
I
I got home from the hospital, and I hit up my local taco shop, and I got some tacos. And I was like, this is it. I haven't eaten in a year and a half.
oh my gosh.
I was like, I got so skinny. It's like irrecognizable. Like, I lost so much weight because I was only on these feeding formulas. 3 cans a day. That was it. So I regained my ability to speak, and then slowly I regained my ability to eat food orally. and then that's when I got my confidence back, and I finally seeked mental health uh, professional help back in 2016, and yeah, so I regained my ability to speak, to eat, and that's what gave me my confidence, and that's when I took matters into my own hands and said, you know what, I'm gonna start my own record label, and I did. I founded my own record label, and I still have it to this day, and it's called Schlumped Records, like Schlumped, you know, because I'm always schlumped, you know. So I called it Schlumped Records, you know, and and it wasn't until I started releasing under my own record label that I started getting recognized by promoters in the scene in LA. So I finally got booked for my first club show. It was with Rob G and a few other artists at the Florentine Gardens, and
In Hollywood?
yeah, in Hollywood.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It was like a Super Smash Brothers theme rave. It was like an underground rave where everyone dressed up as their favorite Super Smash Brothers. And
Wow.
yeah, so I bought this red hat, like a Pokemon, the hat that Ash Ketchum uses,
Right.
and my friend dressed up as Charmander. So like I had this little Pokeball with me, and I was like, "Oh, here I caught Charmander," you know. So and then so after that, I started playing club shows, and I eventually opened for T Pain in Orange County, and I've opened for Wiz Khalifa in Orange County. I played direct support for OT Genesis and Young Dolph, rest in peace, may he rest in peace. Because when I played direct support for OT Genesis, him and Young Dolph had just released that song "Cut It," their collab, and so now that I look back onto my pictures, I was like, damn, I can't believe I was on the same stage as Young Dolph, you know? And he just got, he just recently got killed, and so I was like, damn. And then in 2018, I I opened for none other than Snoop Dogg
What?
in Orange County. Yeah,
Deal
I've
double
opened.
G?
I've opened for the legendary Snoop D-O-double-G.
Deal double
I,
G.
I didn't get to meet him. I met Wiz Khalifa. I met OT Genesis, and I'm pretty sure I met Young Dolph because he was there, And but I did not get to meet Snoop. His security was very uptight that night. I was They literally parked right next to my van. Their party bus parked right next to my handicap van. And on my way, I was leaving because usually I leave like an hour after my set because I don't like it to get too crowdy or people start
Right,
bumping into me and they hurt me.
right.
So I was heading out and I see the bus right there and I see these two big guys standing like right next to my van. And I was like, oh, hey. And I was like, it's Snoop in there? And they're like, yeah. I was like, oh, can I talk to him? I was like, I just opened for him. I mean, can I like say hi to him or something? They're like, let me see what we could do. And they went inside, and I guess he was teething or whatever. He was teething. He was getting high or whatever, doing his thing. And they were like, oh, we're sorry, but he's not doing any meet and greets tonight. And I was like, fuck. I was kind of upset, but at least I get to say that I opened for him.
Absolutely.
And after that I shifted from playing hip hop shows to starting to play trance shows. So I got booked in San Diego for this 5K color fun run in 2017,
Okay, hold on
and
a second. Let me interrupt you for a second here, because that okay. Let's be clear about this, homie. You went from hip hop,
yeah,
okay, the deal double G, all the way okay,
yeah,
to trance, which is more of a spiritual,
Psychedelic, it's uplifting.
platform.
It depends, like the type of trance. Like at first, I started playing regular trance. I started at 138 BPM,
Okay.
and I opened for a few trance artists at Avalon Hollywood and at that music festival in San Diego. And then I didn't I released songs on my own, and it wasn't till 2019 when I was booked to play at the Electric Daisy Carnival in Las Vegas.
Oh, so you've already
So
been there.
yeah, I've already been there. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
I played on the weekend where it was dubbed the biggest music festival in the world. There was a total of 420,000 people in attendance.
Wow.
Yeah, and I played the same night and at the same time that Skrillex did his surprise comeback show set at EDC. So me and Skrillex were playing simultaneously across from each other, and I pretty much lost my crowd to Skrillex, but at least I get to say that I played at the biggest music festival in the world, you know.
Right.
And
Are you
after
playing
that,
this year? You gonna do it
yeah,
this year?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
Excellent.
they after they booked me and I played EDC, and I actually was the only artist to play psytrance. So there's a big difference. There's trance, which is like uplifting and spiritual, and then there's psytrance, which is very psychedelic and it's way faster. Psytrance starts from like 140 BPM to like 150. So
Okay.
it's very heavy, fast, and dark, you know. And so I started. What I did is I recorded. My mom recorded videos of me playing some psytrance at EDC because nobody really plays that, you know, out here. You know, it's usually very prominent in Brazil. So I started doing. I started dropping some Brazilian psytrance, and the people were like, they were like, "What are we listening to?" You know, they were astonished. And the next day, I remember that night, right before I went to bed after my set, I uploaded a video of me playing my favorite artist, Mandragora, in one of his songs. And I didn't think anything of it, so I posted it on my Instagram, I tagged him, and I posted it on my story, and I went to sleep. Next thing you know, I wake up in the morning with like 100 notifications on Instagram. Bro, Mandragora himself posted me on his story.
Wow.
Like the legend. He's like, because back then I was going at under Danny Amaya. So he's like the legendary Danny Amaya playing my music at the biggest music festival in the world. And I couldn't believe it. Like I was like, shit, like my inspiration, you know, the guy that I looked up to and I listened to, you know, reposted my video of me paying homage to him in Vegas, you know.
Right.
And next thing you know, like 10 minutes after I check my notifications, I get a DM from him. And he's like, "You're a legend." I was shocked, you know. And next thing you know, I get a video call from him. And we start discussing. He's like, "So do you produce?" He's like, what, tell me about you. And I was like, "Yeah, I produce. You know, I just started getting into Psytrance 2 years ago." So I got into Psytrance in 2017. And then by 2019, I finally got signed to a record label for my psytrance.
Okay.
So Mandragora is the A&R for one of Brazil's most biggest psytrance record labels called Alien Records. So what they did is they gave me a chance and they signed one of my releases and they launched it. And after that, just I started gaining momentum because I finally got my first release, you know,
Right.
and it's based in Brazil, you know, the biggest country where psytrance is prominent, and then I remember right before COVID hit, I played my last show at Avalon. I closed the main stage on the day before Thanksgiving, so
Really? Just
I
last
was
year? I mean, oh, in
like
2020 or 19?
2019.
Okay, yeah, right before it
I
hit.
I haven't played a live show, like an indoor live show, since then.
Right.
Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, COVID
yeah,
ruined the entertainment business.
yeah. So what
Um,
I did is after that show, I just started laying low, and then during quarantine in 2020, I rebranded as Mr. Bones right before COVID hit, and I was supposed to have my show, but I got really sick on March 10th, 2020. Okay,
did
I
you
got,
get COVID?
I think I did, because I ran up a fever of 104.
Wow.
My doctors, they have the medical record that I went to the urgent care on March 10th, a week before COVID had officially hit and quarantines were in place. So, due to that, I never performed as Mr. Bones live. So, what I did is during COVID, I decided to take matters into my own hands once again, like I did when I started my own record label. And I started, because I've been live streaming since 2016 when I started my record label. So, I've been
Right.
doing live streams since then. But it never got me anywhere until I finally decided to live stream every day on a set schedule, and then I just started gaining momentum and gaining followers on my Facebook. I went from 700 followers in October 2020 to 113,000 followers to this day.
Wow.
And no advertisements. I didn't boost any posts. It's all organic. I didn't buy followers or anything. And then I just started funneling people to my other social medias. And I just used the same techniques on Instagram, on TikTok. And now here I am on TikTok. I'm about to hit 680,000 followers. And
Wow.
Instagram, I have 12.2 thousand followers. So I'm slowly getting there. My Twitter it's not good at all. It's only 400 followers, but I'm working on that. But so to take you back, right before COVID hit, I at the Snoop Dogg show, I met these Rastafarians. They came to support me at my show. Okay, and they always talked about spirituality to me and about Rastafarianism. And I finally got interested, and they were like, "Would you like to be ordained and anointed as a Rastafarian minister?" I was like, "I would love to, because Rastafarians, their sacrament, because you know how the Catholics, they have the bread and the wine as their sacrament.
Right.
So Rastafarians, our religious sacrament is actually cannabis.
Right.
So, as a Rastafarian minister, I have the power to go into the legal or medical system and take a patient or a jailmate their sacrament. So, I legally can bring in cannabis into the prison system to provide it for an inmate if they ask for it, as a religious freedom.
Right.
So and then so I got anointed, I got ordained, and then a few months after being anointed, my mentor, my elder, called me freaking out. He's like, "I just had a revelation." I was like, "What is it?" He's like, "I just spent the last 10 minutes crying after I woke up from it." I was like, "Tell me about it." He's like, I was having a vision," he said, "that people were trying to cross the Mexican and American border, and you could see all this agony in the people's faces, pain. You could see, um, you know, the how mean and racist and discriminatory the ICE patrol was. And he said that you could see pain, suffering, and everything in the people's faces. And next thing you know, he said that you could feel something coming. You could feel something rattling the ground. And he said that Well, at the Mexican American border, they saw this caravan of trucks pulling up to the border, and it turns out that in that caravan, I was playing music, and I had music like I had a whole setup, like a little stage on the caravan, and I just started throwing down beats. And as soon as people realized what was going on, everything changed to the opposite. People were dancing, they were frolicking, they were happy. Border Patrol were actually throwing water bottles at the people and helping them like get up. Like it just changed the whole mood. And my mentor said, my elder said, I just saw the vision that you are Bob Marley's Healer of the Nations. He said, and this was in 2019, okay? He said, there's gonna be a time in this world where it's gonna be in so much peril and so much devastation that the whole world is gonna look up to one person and one person only to stop them from this catastrophe or just to get their minds off what's really going on. And I was like, shit, like I felt like all this pressure on me, And so I didn't think anything of it, and I started a song called El Sanador de las Naciones, which translates in Spanish to the Healer of the Nations. And I started that track in 2019, and we never did anything with it. Like, we didn't shop it around to any record labels or anything. And during COVID, I was like, let me give it a shot. Let me send it to this Spanish electronic dance music record label in Spain. And so I sent it out, and like 3 months after I sent it, I hear back from them saying that they wanted to sign the song. So I was like, this is all coming full circle, because my mentor baptizes me, ordains me, anoints me, and tells me that I'm the healer of the nations. And then I start this track before COVID, and then during COVID, when like he said, there was gonna be a time where everyone needs someone, and he's like, "That's you." He's like, "People are gonna come to you from around the world, wanting to be in your presence, wanting to see you do your thing, and just hear your testimony." And when I realized that the world was in so much peril because of COVID, I was like, "This is my call, This is my go-to. This is my cue. And that's when I decided to just give it my all on my music, and I realized that revelation was true because people literally from every nation in the world tune into my live streams, no matter the language they speak, no matter the religion, no matter what your wealth status is, or whatever your financial situation. I have music that will make you cheer up or dance. Like, people get mad at me when I'm performing live on TikTok that I don't play requests. But the reason of that is because I only play music that I know will get the crowd going. And if I ever take any requests, I take a risk of the song not even being good and killing the whole mood. So why am I gonna come and please one person when I have 6,000 other people enjoying what I'm already playing? So that's one of my rules. Like, no requests at all. Like, I will not take any requests. I am not a jukebox. There's I tell them, I tell them straight up. I was like, "Are you here to listen to your favorite music?" I'm like, "If you are, then please do me a favor. Close the TikTok app, open your Spotify, and play your playlist because I am not a jukebox. I am not Spotify. I am a DJ, and I do what I like, and I do it to please my crowd." And I was like, I'm not gonna sell out for a request. And
Do you feel like you're okay? So when you plan your music, all right. So you
I feel
you
like I feel on top of the world, to be honest.
right, right. That's what you. So you're feeling, and I just want to be clear about this because we're talking. We're not just talking music here, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking being on a spiritual path. Um, with Mr. Bones, he's an he's definitely an inspiration already. I feel that meeting you is very important. I'm so glad we're doing this. I want to be able to share your message all over the world. I
Yeah.
think it's very important because the
And that's
first
it.
the first time that when I listened to you, I literally
Yeah.
was blown away because I'm like, I can't even turn a DJ power button on. Okay, I don't know. I'm an old musician. You know, you
Yeah.
know. But I used to always tell men, that's why I have so much respect for DJs. But when I saw you, it went off the chart. Okay, because it was like, how did you do that sitting in bed, man? I mean, I couldn't do it standing up. So it's like it's just so incredible to see you now. Um, I just want to make an announcement here that we are doing on February the 25th, which is next, but not this Friday, but coming next Friday, we're going to have interview slash a show with Mr. Bonezz. We're going to have it right here live on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter. He's going to be on TikTok. And this is the beginning of hopefully many times that we do this. And this is about bringing people together, and it's a spiritual path. Okay, now, I really want to get into, well, we have a little more time, is okay, so the Rastafarian. All right, now this is, I'm down with the spirit, man. Okay, the name of my show is the Human Spirit Experiment, that we're under, all of us. This whole world is an experiment that is to rob us of our spirit, and so it doesn't allow us to have a spiritual experience. It's more of a material experience. And when I look at you, there's no way you're not walking in the spirit. Now, the miracle of cannabis, um, which you just blew me away, with the vibrate, to be able to talk.
Yeah.
The the excitement that came over you when all of a sudden
I was so excited to the point that I started my own record label the day of.
it just
I'm ready to go. I'm like, let's get this party started.
just amazing. I mean, literally, I have I never have a shortage of words, but I do. It's there's not enough words to say
Like for
the.
those of them, for those people that are tuning in on here and haven't watched me perform yet or before, I DJ with one hand.
Yes, one hand,
My left hand, which I'm right-handed.
really.
So I DJ with my left hand and I pick all the music and do everything like everything else using the mouse on my right hand. But like all the changes, all the EQing and all that, I do it with my left hand.
One-handed.
Yeah.
You're you're amazing. You're an amazing person. When I first saw you on the screen, I thought this guy's cool. Besides everything, okay. And also when you're very intense when you're doing it. Okay, you're very concentrated, and yet at ease at the same time.
That's good. And I haven't even started my ADHD treatment. Only when I start my Adderall.
Oh, that's right. You're going to be up now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they last week, actually, exactly a week ago, I went into my psychiatrist because lately I've been feeling very weird. I haven't been feeling myself. I've been very agitated, and so I had like a 2 hour meeting with my psychiatrist last week, and they finally, after 9 years of suffering with depression, they finally diagnosed me with bipolar 2 disorder. untreated ADD and ADHD, and untreated PTSD. And so they basically put me on all these downers to be able to sleep at night. They took me off of Xanax because I don't want to be dependent on Xanax. They put me on Trazodone, which that one isn't addictive. But honestly, I'm having such a hard time sleeping without the Xanax. Like last night, I decided to take at least just half of the Xanax, and I
Right.
finally had a full night's sleep. But if it wasn't for that Xanax, I would have been awake since Sunday. Like before last night. I had been awake Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night.
Ooh,
Yeah,
yeah, that's not good.
yeah,
Yeah.
that like I said, like so they gave me a baby dose of Adderall for my ADHD because there's time when I have so much going on and I have racing thoughts that I can't just sit there and take a deep breath because I obviously can't. Like the machine does all the breathing for me.
Can you
So,
move in the bed? Can you turn over on your side?
nope, nope.
Okay,
I've
can
always
you?
had to lay on my back. I can't sit up or anything.
Right. So yeah, you're right. You have to lay down, which is another thing. Is I'm so excited for people to be able to come into my
Yeah,
audience and see the show, and I will be showing some of your pictures of you being out. I get some stuff on Facebook and everything,
yeah,
and we'll make it fun. I really want you to come on my show and just talk about your life because
yeah,
you're such a um, you, you, you're such an inspiration, Mr. Bones. I can't say it enough. How pleased I am to have you on my show here.
yeah.
I didn't think it was going to happen, but it happened. Okay,
Yeah,
and we're gonna do it again. I want to. We're coming at the top of the hour, and I really want to get your song in here.
yeah.
Can we
I was gonna
get?
talk about my music. It has a lot of psychedelic influences because of goodies that I consume. So I started doing psychedelics about 3 years ago, right before COVID.
Okay.
And during COVID, I experimented with LSD, psilocybin, and DMT.
Okay.
And my first DMT trip, it actually took me back 5,000 years ago. I saw myself as a Mayan shaman in the in the in a riverbed, and I saw all my ancestors dancing on rocks, and they were actually dancing to my music. So, and then I do LSD. Before I got diagnosed with the bipolar, I was doing LSD like twice a week. So, and that helps me get into like psychedelic mood to produce, because I need something to catalyze my brain and
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
creativity.
Your pineal gland up in there.
So,
Right.
um, so that's why the song you guys are about to hear right now, it's a collaboration with my friend from Greece. He's a Greek music producer, and we released it on one of the biggest uh, dark side. Dark side translates to dark psychedelic trance. So dark side. So it's very dark, it's very ominous, and all the sounds I sound designed them myself. I do not use loops, I do not use samples in my music. Everything uh, I self synthesize.
Right.
And a lot of my sound design actually comes from the visuals that I see during my trips, during my journeys. And so if you want to play that song, like you can tell, like the sound design is like way like I don't use real instruments. I probably do here and there, but most of the is synthesized, and I design every sound myself, starting from the kick and the bass. The kick and
Okay.
the bass I designed them myself.
And the name of this one is Best Friends, right?
Yeah, best friends. Yeah.
All right, let's play it.
Is it- I don't hear it.
This is on SoundCloud.
Yes, and this weekend it'll be on Spotify and all of that. You're gonna want to edit that Mr. Bonezz interview on YouTube. You wrote it wrong. But yeah, ever since I started producing in 2013, and I probably produced over 100 original songs already.
Really?
Yeah, and ever since I started doing psychedelics, it brought my creativity and my efficiency in production 100-fold. Like before, it used to take me maybe 2 months to do one track, and now I could probably do a track either every other day or every day if I could. And ever since I became popular on Facebook, I reached the 113,000 followers. I became one of the most watched psychedelic trance DJs in the world.
It's a very interesting style. I see what you mean about the speed.
Yeah, it's very. This one's at 200 BPM. This one's at 200. I can't hear it for some reason. Is it audible for the people or?
It's it's on. I can hear it.
Oh, okay. Can the people hear it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so as you can tell, the vocals are a lot of chants. There are a lot of, a lot of, how do I say it? A lot of chanting, a lot of, after, how do you say it? Chanting and, how do you say, ethnic, chants.
Do you sing?
People. When I DJ on TikTok, I usually because I know all of my music because I know my music inside and out, and I sometimes sing along with my mixes, and people say that I actually have a good voice. And you know what? Before I went into respiratory failure, I sucked at singing. My voice was so out of tune. But you know what? I think now that I get air directly into my lungs and into my vocal cords, I'm able to manage my highs and my lows. There's a there's a video um uh there's a video on TikTok and Instagram that went viral of me playing singing a Snoop Dogg song.
Oh, really? I wanted to
Yeah,
just say I just gave a sample of that. I wanted to turn it up, but we're getting ready to. I wanted to give a quick sample. You're gonna be playing that song on your show also, right?
yeah, exactly. I'll be okay
Okay.
with it.
Okay. Um, I'm really excited. So we're going to be doing a show here on February the 25th, which is a week from Friday. Okay. And
Yes.
so I want to invite everybody. We're going to do more announcing and putting some promo on this. And we want everybody to come in, bring your cannabis and relax it back and enjoy the show with Mr. Bonezz. Mr.
Yeah,
Bones.
I would actually love to be a regular on your show, maybe like once a week, and just talk about like different struggles that I've been dealing with and how I cope with them.
I would love that. Okay.
Right now, like I said, I've been dealing with this bipolar and being put on all these new meds, but honestly, I'm so scared of pharmaceuticals and getting addicted or overdosing that I'm thinking about just getting if you know any cartridge, because I can't smoke flower. I have to do pure cartridges and tinctures and edibles. So if you know any cartridge companies or that are willing to sponsor me, because my mom's the one that pays everything out of her pocket for my cannabis, because obviously it's illegal nationwide, so the medical insurance won't cover it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
It's like,
Yet, and
yeah,
that's another thing I think we want to. I believe that we should be advocating for, and I think
yeah,
this is
that's why my ministry, my church where I used to go to and preach, they got raided by the DEA, bro.
really
They confiscated $1 million worth of sacrament because we were supposedly uh, illegal, that we couldn't do that, and we were like, "That's our religious sacrament. That's our religious freedom." Like, we actually took San Bernardino County to court and we beat them.
oh
We
good.
actually beat them, yeah. In an
Wow.
unprecedented case, we won for our religious freedom. Yeah.
Isn't it legal there, or that was because you had a high amount?
It just, even though it's legal, they can still fuck you over because the DEA is federal authorities.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah. If it would have been like LAPD, then nah. But
Yeah.
this was actually DEA.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. This. There's so many things I want to talk about. I'm going to save this. I'm going to save this next show, but when the next time we talk, not the show that we do with the music, but we're gonna. I really want to talk about this cannabis thing. All right.
Yeah.
I've have found
I was
a lot of
very big.
articles um, about what it does. That it actually, and from Bloomberg. So what I do is I try and only quote the science that I can find. That way, I don't get deplatformed on
Yeah.
YouTube. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
like, for on this particular show, I won't be able to get monetized. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm not even,
Because of my song, right?
no, not because of your song, but because of, the drug.
Context.
Yeah. They're
Yeah.
talking about the
Yeah.
illegal, and, that's not the issue to be monetized for me. The issue is to get the word out
Yeah.
and to
Exactly.
have a discussion on it. Now,
Because there's all these religions that believe in psychedelics. They believe in natural medicines.
right, right.
And like you said, like we were talking on the phone, they're like, the government is trying to cover up so much and cover our third eye up, that they don't want us doing all these substances, because they realize that we're gonna open our eyes and see the bullshit that they're doing.
The research tells us about cannabis being a miracle, activational, medicinal. It is to
It
me
is
a
because, to be
miracle.
honest, I've been off of Percocets for since I started cannabis. Because my doctors, if it were up to them, they would have me on 2 Percocets a day for pain.
Oh, oh,
Yeah, so they
yes,
would they would have me like in a vegetative state. I wouldn't be able to do what I do now if it were up to my doctors.
Percocet is an it's a it's an
It's an
now in
opiate.
my opinion it's an addiction. I mean it's
It's
an
an
addictive
opiate.
it's
Yeah,
very addictive. You know, I
I don't know how people could use it recreationally. It makes you feel like a zombie.
oh
I
you mean
hate.
like yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh, I one time okay, first let me give him a little background for me, Mr. Bones, because I'm a lot older than you.
Yeah,
So I basically started using cannabis. Of course, it was illegal in 1973. Okay.
around the Jack Herrer era.
I'm sorry.
Around the Jack Herrera era,
Yes. So
was doing all the activism.
yeah, and so never in my mind would I
Yeah,
ever think that in 2020 it would take it before it was legalized in Arizona.
yeah,
Okay. I just never, I thought, oh, surely by 1990 through, you know,
nothing.
no, 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 no. And it's still difficult, still
Yeah,
difficult. So
it's
listen, I have taken up your time here. I sure appreciate it. So glad we had this opening. We're going to do this again.
thank you.
I definitely, yeah, maybe we'll do it on Fridays, but we'll talk
Yeah,
about that. Okay.
yeah, sounds
So,
good.
yeah. So, Mr. Bonezz, thank you so much. The inspirational man of the year. He's already inspired me. The thing is, I just want to say, ladies and gentlemen, if you think you have problems, okay, if you think the world has given you a raw deal, then you need to listen to Mr. Bonezz. I can't wait to have his inspiration, because if it's anything, ladies and gentlemen, it'll make you know you can always change it. And you are an example, Mr. Bonezz. Thank you so much, man. I love you, man.
Thank you so much.
Already, and listen, we'll talk real soon here, okay?
Sounds
Um,
good.
and we may come back on next week here before the show so we can talk about a couple other things, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
All right, Mr. Bonezz. I'll
Thank you
talk
so
to you
much.
soon.
Take care, brother.
Okay, you too.
Bye.
Bye bye.